Well, if it ain't another episode of the Tony Blanco podcast, and if it ain't my loyal subscribers and followers and fans and friends and family checking out what's on this new episode, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We're about to get into it. This is a really special episode, and it is about Think and Grow Rich, which is one of my favorite books. I've mentioned it in the past before. It's about Bob Proctor's teachings, who is a phenomenal mentor who teaches a lot of the paradigm shift stuff and self-image stuff that I think is absolutely essential to becoming who you want to be and to do what you want to do in life, especially if that requires, which most of the time it does, a massive change in who you are and how you view yourself. Also, Psycho-Cybernetics, a book written by Maxwell Maltz, who was a plastic surgeon who recognized that he could totally alter somebody's face and they would actually come back to him in some cases and say, you didn't change anything. Meanwhile, he has before and after pictures that upon showing them, they would actually get angry because it wasn't about the physical change that happened. It was about the self-image, that if somebody didn't change how they view themselves, then change didn't happen. Whereas if somebody changes how they view themselves, they don't need to change their whole face or their body or anything like that. They just needed to change their own perception of themselves, their self-image. So let's get into this. Just like other episodes, I asked ChatGPT to give me some quick lessons from these topics, and I'm going to be reading them for the very first time and sharing with you my thoughts, freestyle, off of the top, raw, without having gone too much into this beforehand, okay? So per usual, if one of these repeat or if one of these don't make much sense, that's okay. I'm reading them for the first time and going over them with you. The reason why I do that is because I believe it's so important to give this unfiltered, truly raw perspective and the fresh thoughts that come to my mind without inhibiting them too much or really inhibiting them at all. I'd rather just give it to you straight, give it to you raw, and allow you to interpret it how you want to interpret it. I like to share with you the first thoughts that come to my mind because I think that that's so important, especially when it comes to self-expression. I am somebody who needs to talk about things in order to come to a conclusion. I can't really process things internally. I like to process things with my words. And so just because I say something doesn't mean that I believe it or that I agree with it. I need to speak in order to make sense of things, So I'm sure a lot of you could relate to that. Some of you are internal processors, and that's a different story. Then you can't necessarily relate to it. But just know that we are either internal processors or external processors. And a lot of us need to speak about something and have the words come out of our mouth in order for us to really come to a conclusion on it. So just keep that in mind. Number one. Clarity of desire is the starting point. And this is a lesson from Think and Grow Rich. Success begins with a burning desire, not a wish or a hope, but a definite obsession backed by faith and action. So the burning desire, that thing that makes you feel emotions, is the thing that will lead you to take action. We are very emotional beings. Upon studying behavior and studying psychology, I understand that we may have logic and we may know what is the right way to respond to something, but we just can't help but to react to something emotionally. And that's another conversation for another day. It's super, super important to learn how to process things in that few milliseconds that you have between cause and effect, for you to actually respond to it accordingly. But just know that most people react to things and it's completely based on emotion. So how you make somebody feel is how you will get a reaction out of them, right? If you don't make somebody feel anything, they won't even remember you. But if you make somebody feel something, they'll remember you, they'll take action, they may change, Maya Angelou, she had a quote that stuck with me for a long time, and it's something along the lines of, people will forget what you said to them, they'll forget what you did for them or to them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So how you make people feel, very important. Think about when somebody says, it's not about what you said, it's about how you said it, or it's about the tonality. You are transferring emotions and transferring feelings, transferring vibrations and frequency through your tonality, through your speech. And so sometimes you might be saying something with the best of intention, but if you're saying it with a bad tonality or subjectively bad tonality, you could be invoking or provoking a different type of emotion than you are intending to actually get out of that person. But just understand that that it starts with a burning desire, something that makes you feel. So you could wish or hope that you become wealthy, or that you have cash flowing assets, or wish or hope that you are fit, or wish or hope that you have a date with somebody who you have a massive crush on. But if it's not a burning desire that is a definite obsession backed by faith and action, it won't actually take place. So what does that mean? That burning desire is your GPS. You set the location, the desired outcome into your GPS. And now you understand where to go. And you could make a wrong turn and your internal GPS will readjust to make sure that you're going to the desired outcome. In other words, as long as that's the desired outcome that you have, it doesn't really matter how you get there. You can veer off track a little bit and your internal GPS will get you back on track to get to that desired outcome, that desired location. But it does need to be a burning desire, because that is how you determine your location or desired outcome. And then you need to have faith that it will happen. You need to not only see it in your mind, but you need to believe it and feel it. And then you can conceive it. Then you can have it. Then you can take the necessary actions required to get what you need to get. And that only happens by having that definite obsession, that burning desire, and faith that you can actually do it, and backed by action. Okay? Number 2, you become what you think about. Bob Proctor. Your dominant thoughts, especially those tied to emotion, shape your reality, change your paradigm, mental program, and you change your results. So again, your thoughts, if they are emotionless, you won't even remember them. But your thoughts tied to emotion shift your reality. Perception is reality. And how you view things, how you feel about things, is how you perceive said subjective reality. Nobody has a tight grasp or grip on what is. Everybody has a perception of this reality. And so your dominant thoughts, the thoughts that live rent-free in your head, tied with emotion, shape your reality. And when you change your paradigm, which is your mental program, you change your results, thus changing your reality. You understand? Your mental program are your thoughts. So people tell me all the time, wow, you're really positive. I have to be, because if I'm not, what is the alternative to that? Everything that happens is going to be low vibrational. I'm going to perceive it as a bad thing. Then that's not going to help me do anything in life. But even if a seemingly bad thing happens, if I can find the good in it, if I could find the lesson in there, and I could remain positive about it overall, then it's fine. My perception is beautiful. Everything happens for a reason. My sister told me earlier today, I told her about an instance that happened today that was really kind of like detrimental to the day. And I told her it was a 2-hour thing and it really bothered me. And she said, well, my coach told me don't let 15 seconds ruin 15 minutes. In other words, don't let 2 hours ruin your 12. And I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, because I did have a great day. I'm still having a great day. I'm here in my house, safe, healthy. Everything's good. I'm drinking mate. I'm making a YouTube video. Life is good. Life is great. You know what I mean? So your dominant thoughts shape your reality, especially those tied to emotion, and you just need to take control over this right here. This is the only thing that you really have control over is your thoughts. Number 3, the self-image is the blueprint of behavior, from the book Psycho-Cybernetics. People cannot outperform their self-image. If you want to achieve more, you must first upgrade how you see yourself. That's beautiful. Let me give you the example of a salesperson. If a salesperson only makes $5,000 a month, they usually make $5,000 a month. They are going to continue making only $5,000 a month, even though they are capable of making $10,000 a month. Now, why is that? Because once they are below the threshold of $5,000 a month, they feel that they need that $5,000 because that's how they see themselves. They need to maintain the self-image that they have of themselves. Again, that GPS or that paradigm or your self-image, what is it? It's like a plane on autopilot. If the plane is set to go to a certain destination, even if it starts to veer off track because of turbulence or resistance in life, you are the plane, it will go back on track to go to what? That desired outcome, that desired location, because that is the set programming of it. So far we've spoken about having that desired outcome, you becoming what you think about, you are what you think, your reality and your perception is what you think about, and your self-image being the blueprint of behavior. So back to the example of the $5,000, the salesperson, if they're only at $4,000 for that month, they're going to make more and more and more and more and more calls until they hit that 5,000 mark. And then boom, now they're like, I could finally relax. I made my 5,000. But if they shifted their self-image to I am worthy and it is necessary that I make $10,000 a month and I see myself as a $10,000 a month salesman, then they will push themselves to do what is necessary to get to that 10,000. And or if you have somebody who has been making 10,000 every month for the past 6 months, that 7th month, you know what they're going to make? 10,000. They're not going to settle for less. And they're going to stop as soon as they make that 10,000 because they don't feel it necessary or see themselves as somebody who makes more than that. Okay? Very important. You can't outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as somebody not worthy of a healthy relationship, you're going to self-sabotage your relationships. If you see yourself as somebody who's not worthy of a good job with benefits and stuff, then you're not even going to pursue it. You're not going to apply for it. You're not going to push yourself to learn the necessary skills because this is how you view yourself, and you can't outperform how you view yourself. Number 4, faith is a state of mind you create through repetition. Think and Grow Rich. Affirmations, visualization, and emotional belief turn thoughts into physical results. Faith is built like a muscle through repeated positive thought. The opposite is true too. So the opposite of faith being fear, being a lack of results, a lack of belief, that is also built like a muscle through repeated negative thought, through repeated negative self-talk. When people say things like, oh, I'm such an idiot, or oh, I'm so dumb, I don't know why I did this. Bro, your inner warrior is listening. Like, you are telling yourself and casting that spell on yourself. And that is such a shame because nobody's going to love you like you. Nobody is coming to save you. You need to take accountability and you need to build up your skills, your self-image, your confidence, and your life. You're the only one capable of changing your life, okay? Whether it's in a bad way or in a good way, you are the one who's in charge. And faith is what you need to take action, okay? It is a state of mind that you create through repetition. speaking positively about yourself, okay? Visualizing you in that desired outcome or desired location, and believing with your feelings and with your emotions, okay? Whatever thoughts that you have, you need to believe. Believing is having those emotions tied into the thought. And that will turn your thoughts into physical results. That will bring what's in here around you. Okay? How many examples can I possibly give? I mean, I saw this tattoo on me for years before I got the tattoo. Okay? I saw myself living in Florida for years before I moved to Florida. I saw myself making more money for years before I started making more money. And at first, when I first started thinking of all those things that I just mentioned, I didn't truly believe it yet. I developed the thought, and then I tied it in with visualization, telling myself I deserve it, thinking about it nonstop, repeatedly. And then it came to fruition because of repetition, through affirmation, through visualizing, and believing that I am worth it, that I am worthy of said things. Number 5, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. Psycho-Cybernetics. When you vividly visualize success and practice mental rehearsal, you rewire your nervous system to behave as if it's already real. Now that's so important because what you visualize, your brain is experiencing, right? And if your brain is experiencing it, whether it's good or bad, it ties into your self-image because you've been there, done that. And if you've been there, done that, you're used to it, okay? Thus making it so it is in your reality. First, it's up here. And you visualize it, you feel it, you experience it. Your brain actually develops the core memories and the grooves in your brain physically of the experiences that you haven't even physically experienced yet, but that you're experiencing mentally and spiritually and emotionally. And then what's going to happen next? It's going to transfer over to the physical realm. Because we are spirits. We're all spirit. We're all vibrating already. We all have different vibrations, and we vibrate at a frequency that other frequencies of the same are going to tune in, and they're going to attract to each other. Birds of a feather. Okay? Like attracts like. And so your subconscious and your conscious are two totally different things, but your conscious mind is like the controller of the dog. It's like holding the leash, right? And let's say you have a massive, gigantic Jack Pit Bull or Cane Corso or like just a really big, strong dog, right? And you have a short, skinny person walking the dog on a leash, right? The dog might be more powerful, but hopefully if trained correctly, right? The dog is going to respect and walk behind the person who is walking the dog, regardless of the level of strength, okay? And so the dog might be stronger than its trainer. The dog might be stronger than the person walking it. And that is precisely the perfect analogy for your conscious, which is the trainer or the person walking the dog, and your subconscious, which is millions of times more potent and powerful, is the beast, okay? So your conscious mind is the tamer of the beast. Your subconscious mind is the beast. The thing is that that's where your powerhouse is. And your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So if you imagine and visualize good things and good self-belief, then you are auto-suggesting to your subconscious, and that will translate into your subconscious developing things in the physical reality. Because how did you auto-suggest it? Well, you used your conscious mind to control your thoughts. And so if you have a bad thought, you allow it to pass, you take control of it, and you replace it with the good thought, okay? When you catch yourself saying, oh man, I'm never gonna do this, take a deep breath. catch yourself and be like, I am going to do this. I have already done it. As a matter of fact, just me pursuing this is enough to prove to myself that I'm worthy of having it, and I'm going to keep putting in the work because I already have it. I already have it. I have exactly what I'm looking for in life. Okay? I have all of the wealth, unimaginable wealth. I have health. Okay? I have all of the things that I desire in life, even if you don't actually physically have it. Because if you don't believe it and your subconscious doesn't truly believe it, then it won't bring it into reality. Number 6, environment and association shape your mindset. Bob Proctor said this, and Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. Surround yourself with people who uplift, challenge, and expand your thinking. You can't soar with eagles if you're hanging with pigeons. So this is an example of why I believe people should be listening to this type of content, why people should look into the book Think and Grow Rich, why people should read Paradigm Shift, why people should listen to Bob Proctor, why people should read the book Psycho-Cybernetics, why people should develop the beliefs and understanding that you control your reality. You are accountable for your reality and the life that you live, okay? And if you hang out with losers, or you hang out with people who see themselves as losers, or do drugs, or, are always under the influence, or they have money problems and this and that, you are going to be just like them. Because you are the combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You have to understand that. So if it's normal for them to have these issues, and you witness this, and you think to yourself, yeah, this is normal for people to have those issues. That's what you deem as normal. That's what you deem as acceptable. That's what you tolerate. That's what you deserve. That's what you believe. And that will be your reality. But when you come up with your own standards and beliefs and values, and you see things that are out of alignment with that, and you have the discipline to say, absolutely not. I will not tolerate that, because that is not part of my reality. That is not part of the life that I see from myself. Then you won't even have to worry about that stuff. Hang out with people who expand your thinking, who uplift you, who challenge you to be a better version of yourself. And you know what? Sometimes that's not comfortable. It's not supposed to be. If everything was hunky-dory and great and beautiful and butterflies and rainbows, then we wouldn't be growing. But it's through the tough conversations, it's through the challenges, it's through the expansive conversations. I'm not saying that growth always has to be uncomfortable, because as a matter of fact, for me, I like to make growth a very enjoyable experience, a very pleasurable experience. Funny thing about that too is, like, dopamine gets released in the brain when you're having a pleasurable experience. You know how else dopamine gets released in the brain? Through painful experiences. So it's like, what? Pain and pleasure both release the same dopamine in the brain? Yes. So growth isn't always painful, but it definitely is not always pleasurable. Okay? You need to find the enjoyment and, happiness or contentness or the discipline in the pursuit of your goals and the pursuit of your growth. Okay? Remember, you can't soar with eagles if you're hanging with pigeons, man. Let's say an eagle is raised by like 5 chickens, right? And it's the 6th chicken at this point. It will never believe that it can fly, because the birds around it, they're not flying. So why would that eagle think that it's an eagle? Why would it know that it's able to fly if all it's ever seen is chickens? So if you hang out with people who smoke weed and who don't achieve anything, who live with their parents, who, they're not pursuing any goals, they're not making any money, they're not like trying to better themselves, you're not even going to think that that's possible. And you're going to see people who do that sometimes here and there, few and far between, and be like, what the heck is that guy doing? That's weird. Wow, he's reading a self-development book? Who does that? Well, definitely none of your friends, definitely none of the people you surround yourself with. But if the people you associate yourself with are pursuing greatness and are pursuing their goals and are developing themselves in the gym all the time, training, eating clean, doing things that benefit themselves and the people around them, being a valuable contribution to society, then you're going to deem all of that as not only normal, but what's necessary. And when you aren't living up to your own standard, you're going to think, yeah, no, this something doesn't feel right. You get what I mean? So it goes right back to your paradigm and how you view yourself. Number 7, set a clear goal and act as if it's already yours. Think and Grow Rich and Bob Proctor. Definiteness of purpose aligns your mind with action. When you live from the goal, not toward it, your behavior and opportunities begin to match. So one of the things that come to my mind here is that, like, don't take this word for word, because Bob Proctor also said that it's not necessarily having achieved the goal that makes you successful, but being in pursuit of the goal and even having a goal in the first place, that's what makes you successful. But this quote here, well, lesson from both Think and Grow Rich and Bob Proctor, says definiteness of purpose aligns your mind with action. I already said that that's like the GPS. You got to have a desired location, a desired outcome. You need to have that goal in mind in order to do things, right? When you live from the goal, not toward it, your behavior and opportunities begin to match. So in other words, you need to believe, like I said before, your self-image needs to believe that you will not accept less than $20,000 a month. That you are the type of person that makes that amount, whatever monetary amount that you think it is, or whatever fitness goal that you have, or whatever relationship or familiar goal that you have, okay? You need to believe, set a clear goal, and act as if it's already yours. And, you know, if you, for example, are struggling with having a healthy relationship, well, if you, in your mind, develop the thought and essentially self-hypnotize or auto-suggest to yourself that you are worthy of and have a healthy relationship, then you will live from the goal, from your value standards and beliefs, and you will actually turn that into your reality, because your behavior will change and your opportunities will begin to match said behavior. Okay? Because remember a quote that I shared in a video from 2 videos ago. Luck is what happens when preparation and opportunity meet. So, you know, luck isn't real. It's about preparation and opportunity. Preparation being your behavior. Your behavior and opportunities, they begin to match. But if your behavior isn't worthy of, you know, pursuing and achieving those opportunities that come your way, then 100 opportunities could come your way, but you'll never do anything with them because you don't have said preparation. You don't have said skills. You don't have those said behaviors worthy of carrying out those opportunities that were presented to you. Okay? Number 8, failure is feedback, not defeat. From the book Psycho-Cybernetics, your mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. Like a missile, it corrects course through failure. Every mistake is part of the learning process. Remember when we were in elementary school, and one of the most important things that they told us was that, whoever created the light bulb, they tried it like 10,000 times. They just kept failing and failing and failing and failing, but it wasn't defeat. It was feedback. Okay, so that didn't work. How do I make it happen? Another example of which is, think about a child learning how to walk, a toddler learning how to walk. They're going to fall, right? They stand up. Everybody's like, oh, wow, look at little Timmy. He's going to take his first step. And then Timmy tumbles, right? But his parents don't tell him, no, Timmy, don't try to walk. Don't try to walk. You're not meant to walk because you failed at walking. No, they're going to make him get up and try again and try again and try again. And through that process, his legs are going to begin to stabilize. He's going to learn through muscle memory what muscles need to be engaged in order for him to take that next step. And this is all such a subconscious process of the child learning how to walk. Think about if your failures were defeats and not feedback, you would not even be walking right now. So every one of your failures in life was simply feedback. You must analyze that feedback. Analyze it and look at it and think, what can I do differently? How can I make this happen? Because like a missile, it corrects course through failure. Every failure, the plane hitting the turbulence, it goes off track and then it gets back on course. Because every mistake and bump in the road and every need for course correction is simply part of the learning process. And you will get to that desired outcome and you will get to that desired location as long as you keep on pursuing it. As long as you don't accept failure as defeat. And you understand that there's a lesson within everything. Okay? Number 9, decide and commit quickly. Think and grow rich. Successful people make decisions fast and change them slowly. Indecision creates confusion, stress, and missed opportunities. Do you know what the word decision means? It means to cut off. I love that. I absolutely love that because it's like when you make a choice, you might change your choice, right? You have the freedom to choose and you might go back on your choice. But when you make a decision and you cut off all other possible outcomes, you make a firm decision to get this desired outcome, then you're going to make it happen because you burn the boats, right? There's a story about this army general who he took his army over to some place, or he was some high up position, and it might not have been a general. That's besides the point. He took his army over to this island or to this new land, whatever the case is, and then he burned the boats. In other words, hey guys, the only way we're getting out of this, the only way we're gonna live is if we win. There is no retreat. There's only winning or dying. There is no losing. We win or we die. Period. Successful people make decisions fast and then they change them super slow. Like they won't change their decision because they cut off all the other options, right? And indecision creates confusion, stress, and missed opportunities. So the more that you stay in a state of indecision, that is a decision. Not making a decision is making a decision because you're not choosing to move forward. You're not making the decision to move forward. You're staying in that stagnant state and you're creating confusion and stress. Cortisol levels rise. Dopamine falls, okay? You're missing your opportunities because your behaviors aren't aligned. Your self-image isn't in alignment. You don't even know what to do with those opportunities if you even recognize them. But because your self-image is so low, you can't even recognize said opportunities. You get what I mean? So decide and commit quickly. Don't just choose and then change. No. Make a decision. Cut off the others and commit to your decision. You will not accept failure as defeat. Number 10, gratitude shifts vibration and attracts abundance. Bob Proctor. Gratitude is a high frequency emotion. When you feel grateful for what you have and for what's coming, you put yourself in harmony with abundance. Gratitude is such a high frequency. It's rooted in love, so to not be grateful, to think about, oh, woe is me, and oh, this should have been this, and this should have been that, and I don't deserve this. Like, these are all very low vibrational things, right? And they won't help you achieve anything. If anything, by not being grateful and not practicing that gratitude, things will slip from your grasp. You'll be so surprised to see how fast things will slip from your grasp if you don't be grateful for them. But if you are grateful for opportunities, for people, for your life, for your health, for your wealth, for everything that you have and everything going on, and see the good in all of the lessons, right? Even if they're seemingly bad, other people could be like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And you're like, don't be sorry. It happened. I learned my lesson. I learned from it. I'm looking back on it. I'm analyzing it. It's not failure. It's not defeat. It's a lesson. It's a blessing. Okay? I'm grateful, and therefore I love, and therefore I deserve, and more will come to me. You understand? When you feel grateful for what you have and for what's coming, you put yourself in that high vibration, that high frequency. You're attracting greatness to you, and you put yourself in harmony with abundance, and you will get what you deserve. Remember, in this life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. Okay? So do a negotiation with yourself. I know some people say I don't negotiate with myself if I make a decision. Yeah, okay, I get that. That's I get that. That makes sense. But negotiate with yourself in the sense of like, if your self-image is low, be like, well, what would happen if we did have a high self-image? What would happen if we did start practicing gratitude? What do you have to lose? Let's just try it. Because if you don't do it, then you're never going to achieve what you want to achieve. You're going to live in a state of lack. You're going to live in a state of poverty. You're going to live in a sickness and disease state. No. You don't want that. Practice gratitude. Learn from your mistakes. Have a clear goal. Have many goals. Have many dreams. Pursue greatness. Achieve greatness. Be great. I believe in you. I hope you believe in yourself. And once you do, life will start rapidly changing for you in the most positive and amazing ways. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. God bless. I'll see you next time. Peace.